And these changes can be so subtle or they can be so slow that we're not really paying attention. And our bodies are changing every day. The way we look is changing every day. And sometimes we don't notice it until over an extended period of time. So then I was thinking, well, if everything is constantly changing in me and around me, then that means what's not changing is my mindset. So find a way to Hello, beautiful souls. My name is Monica, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about how to let go and trust the process when it comes to manifesting using the law of attraction. So last week, I decided to take a break from social media, sort of a social media cleanse. And while I was at it, I decided to not film or edit any videos. So I wasn't doing anything with this channel at that point. And when I made this decision, it was, I think, Thursday. And I'm filming this on the following Monday. So that's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I had 4 days where I was not on social media at all. And the reason I decided to do this was because I was feeling a lot of things. I was struggling a lot. And the main things I was feeling was anxiety. I was feeling lost, kind of directionless in life. And I was feeling uncontent. And the best way I can describe how I wasn't feeling content is I think about it like, you know, when you're really, really hungry and you don't quite feel like making anything yet because you're just starving, and you decide to eat like half a bag of chips or something like that. And by the time you're done eating those chips, you just feel so unsatisfied. You're just like, I don't know why I did that. And it sounded good at the moment. But when we eat for the sake of filling a void, you know, the void in our stomach being empty and we really want to fill it with something quick, then it's not as satiating as if we are eating for energy. And when we're eating for energy, we're eating nutrients. Nutrients is what's going to help us feel satisfied and energized. And yes, there's, you know, protein, carbs, fats, you know, micronutrients, macronutrients, all of that stuff, but just nutrients in general. Because if we're eating empty calories, we still kind of feel empty. We feel hungry versus eating the right calories that are actually going to give us that nutrition that our body is asking for. And the best word I could think of to describe also how I was feeling is the word apathy or apathetic. And I had to look up what this meant because I'd heard this before, but I wasn't really quite sure what it meant. But it means basically a lack of passion, a lack of enthusiasm, or a lack of interest. And that's how I was feeling about my life in general. And I couldn't figure out why I was feeling this way. And the reason I didn't know why I was feeling this way was because I have manifested so much in my life, from the smallest things to the biggest things. I am a master manifester. I have been practicing for quite a while, you know, quite a number of years. And although I'm not perfect at it and I haven't manifested every single thing I want, I have manifested a big majority of what I want and of what I actually need. This is the first time in my life that I have been so abundant in so many different areas of my life. Not just financially or material things, I'm talking like everywhere. So I was like, if I have basically everything I need and a majority of what I want, why am I not happy? Or why do I feel, it's not even that I wasn't happy, I actually am very happy overall, but I was still feeling this like dissatisfaction. Like I wasn't fulfilled. And I didn't know why. So I was thinking, well, then it must be something that I don't have or I'm not doing, or something that needs to be fixed. So if you've watched my channel for a while, especially my law of attraction videos, you will have seen that I have manifested some of the bigger things like my soulmate, my husband, who I've been with almost 9 years now. I have manifested recently, as of this year, my dream home, and last year my dream life. And if you don't follow me, or if this is your first time here, my dream life is full-time RVing. That's what I do now. I travel full-time, and it's been awesome. And some of the smaller things I've been manifesting, even of this year, is going back to Florida, which is where I grew up. I am such a beach person. I love the water. I am so excited to be back. It's been a few years. We're going to be traveling there this winter, and we're going to be staying there for a few months. And then another thing that I manifested just a few days ago was being able to see one of my best friends, someone who is a part of my soul family who I haven't seen in years, but talk to very regularly for hours on the phone. I'll be seeing her, I think, next month. Yeah, towards the end of next month. And I'm not trying to tell you all of these things to brag about how awesome my life is. I'm telling you these things just to give you kind of an overall picture of what I've been going through and why I've been feeling the way I've been feeling, because these are a lot of the things I thought about. I'm like, I know I am so blessed. I am so grateful for everything that I have right now. I remember times growing up that I wasn't sure when my next meal was going to come from. I remember being homeless. I remember being afraid to check my bank account because I was always in the negative. I was always in the red, and it felt like I couldn't get ahead no matter what I did. And so the main reason why I got off social media for a while and stopped working on my channel was because I was feeling very called to go inward, to listen to my inner voice. Like, I knew my inner voice had something to say, but I wasn't listening. I was drowning it out with so many different distractions. And a lot of times I get into this cycle of, if I'm feeling down, then I try to look for an outside answer or an outside solution. So I'll be working more on like personal growth and self-development by listening to other teachers and other YouTubers, or reading positive posts or quotes or things like that. And also reading books. I have some books now that are very spiritual and along the lines of the things that I teach and the things that I'm really into. I just felt like I wasn't getting what I was seeking out of them because I already know a lot of that stuff. Sometimes it is good to have reminders, but also I just knew, like I said, there was something going on within me that I just had to stop and listen and stop doing. I had to start being for a while. So during this time of my social media cleanse, I spent a lot of time doing basically nothing, like just sitting. And I remember actually just yesterday, I was sitting and watching the clouds go by and imagining different shapes in them, like seeing the shapes and imagining different things that I could see in the clouds, which I haven't done since I was a kid. So it was actually pretty fun for me and really relaxing. And I just spent a lot of time thinking, meditating, and like I said, just going inward. One of the things that came to me was a quote from a song. I believe it's by Sheryl Crow, and I think it's the song titled "Soak Up the Sun." And this lyric has always resonated with me, and I think of it from time to time. And what came up was the lyric that says, "It's not getting what you want, it's wanting what you've got." And I thought about that and I was like, oh man, that's such a good reminder. Because I believe everyone who practices the law of attraction goes through this at some point. I was on one end of the spectrum where I was feeling like I wasn't really manifesting a whole lot, and I would get very focused on that and very down and wondering, why is it taking so long for things to come to me? Are they ever going to come to me? What am I doing wrong? All of this stuff. I would beat myself up. And now I've gotten to this point where I am manifesting so quickly and so much that I almost got a little bored of it in a way. It was almost too predictable. It's like, I know that my Florida trip is coming up, so okay, what do I do now in the meantime? Or I know I'm going to go visit my friend, but what do I have to look forward to now? And every day has just kind of been like this anxiety of waiting for the next thing, waiting for the next day. It's like I was always living for tomorrow, waiting for something to happen. And then I also had this memory of when I was a teenager and one of my friends worked at a restaurant, and the restaurant had this sign that said, "Free beer tomorrow." And every time I would see her, that sign was up. And me being kind of naive and gullible, I was like, oh, there's going to be free beer tomorrow. Not that it mattered. I was a teen. I didn't drink anyways, but I just thought that was interesting. I'd never seen a sign like that before. And then finally, after seeing it a few times, I asked my friend if she was working the next day. And she was like, yeah, why? And I said, well, at least if you work tomorrow, there'll be free beer. And then she was like, oh, they keep that sign up all the time. So like, you know, free beer is always going to be tomorrow, and tomorrow never comes, basically. And then I was like, oh, wow, like I didn't even think about that. So then what I started thinking about was how beautiful and how precious each moment is. Because I feel like our ego gets into this comfortable state and it thinks that everything is always going to be the same. And in a way, it likes everything being the same because it's comfortable. It thinks tomorrow we're going to wake up, we're going to be in the same house, we're going to be around the same people and talk to the same people, everything in the world's going to be the same. But really, we have no idea what each day will bring. Each day is different, whether we expect it to be or see it that way or not. Yes, we may have some very consistent days or even weeks where we're waking up, we're showering, getting ready, brushing your teeth, eating breakfast, going to work, working from 9 to 5, coming home, making dinner, walking our dogs, watching TV, going to bed. And we think that nothing's changing and nothing's happening and we're not manifesting because we don't see it, because we're doing the same things. And what I realized as I was walking one day is that everything is always changing constantly. It's like that saying, the only constant in life is change. So then I really started noticing changes. I think I started noticing how every day the clouds are different. The weather is different. Some days it's really windy here. Some days it's really still. I started thinking about how, it's winter, even though it's really warm where I am here in the desert of New Mexico on the border of Arizona. And just thinking about how, for some reason, a lot of times I forget that it's winter if it's warm, and how there's no leaves on the trees, especially if it's trees I haven't really seen before. And then when things start blooming, I'm like, oh, wow, okay, it's not that it's just the desert and this is dry and dead. Like, it's just winter. Like, it's going to come back to life. And these changes can be so subtle, or they can be so slow that we're not really paying attention. And our bodies are changing every day. The way we look is changing every day. And sometimes we don't notice it until over an extended period of time. So then I was thinking, well, if everything is constantly changing in me and around me, then that means what's not changing is my mindset. So everything is changing around me. And the reason why I can't perceive of it is because my mindset isn't changing. It's staying the same. It's always focusing on that future thing that's going to happen someday. Something that's going to manifest someday for me. And it can be easy to get into that trap when you practice the law of attraction. Like, even before I knew about the law of attraction, I remember back a few years ago, I had a friend who had just gotten like a new place to live that she really loved. She had gotten a cat, so she's gotten a pet, and she had gotten a new job, like a full-time job with benefits. She was working in an office, and she loved her coworkers. She loved the job. She'd only been working there a few months, and she was already moving up to another position where she was going to have her own office instead of being outside in the reception area. And she was telling me all this, and I was just so proud of her. I'm like, congratulations, these are all amazing things that are happening. And I can't remember exactly what she said, but she said something along the lines of, yeah, I'm just waiting for, like the next thing to happen, like something to happen. I know she was trying to manifest a partner, soulmate. She was, in her 30s and really wanted to get married and have kids. And she didn't mention that exactly, but just that she was waiting for the next thing to happen. And we were eating lunch, and I stopped and looked at her, and I was like, why are you waiting for the next thing? Why don't you enjoy what you have now? I'm like, you just said you got a new apartment, you have a new pet, and you have a new job, and you're already moving up in that job. So why not just enjoy the things that you have now? It's not about getting the next thing. And she looked at me and she was like, you know what? You're right. I didn't think about that. I can totally enjoy what I have right now. And as an outside perspective, it was so easy for me to see that for her, but it wasn't easy from my perspective to see it about my own life. And so that it was another memory that popped up that was like, hey, this is what's going on with you right now. And I'm like, now I'm in that same boat. It can be very easy to focus so much on the future of what you're getting or going to get or want to get. After I had manifested my dream home, our brand new RV that I'm still absolutely in love with, I love living there. And even then, after we got it, after all that work, afterwards, I was still basically, maybe not consciously, but subconsciously like, what am I going to manifest next? I got to have another success story. I got to have something else to share. And it took me out of the present moment of enjoying what I had already manifested. So that is basically the point. It is learning how to be grateful for what you already have. It's about being present. If you're focused on what you don't have or what you're waiting to get, you're taken out of the present and you're focused too much on the future. And so if you're always focused on, I will get this in the future, then the future never comes, like tomorrow never comes. And I know that this is going to sound a little contradictory, or it's going to sound counterintuitive because, with the law of attraction, we're always saying focus on what you want. And that is true in a sense. For instance, the movie Office Space, if you've seen it. And there's that scene towards the beginning where the main character is like, I know Lumbergh, his boss, is going to have me work this weekend. I can feel it. He's going to have me work it. And in that sense, he is focusing on what he doesn't want. Instead, it's more productive to focus on what you want. So instead of saying, I know he's going to have me work this weekend, say, I know, or I intend, or I manifest that I will be off this weekend. And instead of focusing on the working, focus on the being off, or focus on what it is that you want to do that weekend. Like, I manifest or I intend that I will be hanging out with friends this weekend. And whatever it is that you would rather do instead. That's where I feel like that comes in for focusing. So another factor I had figured out was I wasn't being present and I wasn't appreciating everything that I have right now to the fullest extent because I was very ungrounded. And I realized this as I was meditating and I was feeling that anxiety is what my inner voice was telling me was that I was overstimulated. So like I don't drink coffee or caffeine or sodas, but I was overstimulated because of too much artificial things, such as, eating artificial foods that are packaged, foods that come with a lot of chemicals, or just things that aren't natural, like the food in its natural form. So chemicals in food, dyes and stuff is very stimulating for the body. It affects us and can impact us in a negative way, especially if we consume a lot of it. So that was one way. Another way was just too much screen time. Like, I can't tell you how much I do on my phone. I do everything on my phone. Like right now I'm filming on it. I'll be editing on it probably tomorrow. I'm on social media so much, like, I'm traveling, so I don't get to see my friends. I have to, text them or message them on like Instagram or some kind of social media. And I use my phone for recipes to cook. I use it for checking the time, checking, the weather, checking, using the calculator, using the flashlight. I mean, I use my phone for everything. Like, when I stopped and thought about it, I was like, it's too much. And then, so by getting off social media, it really helped to reset my phone addiction of constantly checking my phone for notifications and responding to people and posting and stuff. So I just was able to set my phone down and forget about it. I didn't turn it off or anything. Like, I still had it on if I needed to check something or add something to like my grocery list, little things like that. But I wasn't getting caught up in the spending hours of just scrolling and commenting and, messaging and all of that stuff, which I'm not saying is a bad thing at all. It's just my life was becoming very unbalanced with the artificial and with the real. So also along that was just spending too much time inside. I have this thing where I don't really like to go outside and like hike or do things in nature during the weekday when my husband's working, because I just feel guilty because he's like slaving away doing something he doesn't really want to do for hours and hours. He has a lot of really stressful days. He works really hard, and I would just feel guilty if I was outside just like la 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 playing around and having fun. And I'm not saying that this is an excuse. This is a reason. I know I could definitely do it if I wanted to. So I wait until the weekends, and that's usually when we go hiking and we just go explore and venture and all of that stuff. And since he had to work a couple weekends, we really didn't get out. I didn't go out then either. I just spend a majority of my time doing chores, cooking, cleaning, doing errands, grocery shopping, laundry, taking care of the dogs, filming, editing, uploading, posting. I do all that sort of thing. And then, of course, like I said, talking to friends and all of that good stuff, watching TV sometimes. But TV too, was getting too stimulated from that. It's like when you're eating your junk food, like your pizza, and then you're watching like something like Fast and the Furious that's like so much adrenaline and car crashes and explosions and gunshots. It's just way too stimulating if you do it too often, and you become unbalanced. And I realized that I became unbalanced by focusing more on this stuff as a distraction from what was really going on with me deep down, with my anxiety about manifesting for the future and trying to escape the present, and adding to that being ungrounded, which I didn't realize until I had to take away those distractions and really just, like I said, sit and be. Basically, the best way that I have found to let go of your manifestations and to just trust the universe and trust the process are 3 things. And one being to become present and stop focusing on the future of what you might get or what you don't have already. The second one is to become grounded. And you can ground in many different ways, but I'm going to talk about my best way of grounding that I have found for me, and also how it brings you into the present as well. And the third one is just to raise your vibration by having fun. And that one, believe it or not, has been the most difficult and challenging one for me. The way I like to ground is to just be completely immersed in nature. And I realized this again yesterday because my husband and I were feeling kind of down. He's been in kind of the same boat with me. And we spontaneously decided, even though it was getting kind of late, to just drive to the border of Arizona and go up this national forest, up this mountain, and explore a different part that we had never explored before. Because we have our favorite hiking places that we've been to, but we wanted to find something new. So we just took a drive, and we had our dogs, and we went quite a ways up, and we just found a place to park and what looked like a trail, and we decided to go explore it. And it was just so much fun for me, and it was so grounding. Like, there was absolutely no one else around. There was not a soul. There was nothing artificial in this forest, on this mountain. I didn't bring my phone. I left it at home. I didn't even want to take pictures. I just wanted to be in the moment. And I can't tell you how much it lifted my vibration. I felt so freaking good. And so did my husband. And so we decided that we're going to stop making excuses for why we don't get outside and stop being so distracted with our vices. And we have made a commitment to hike every single day after he gets off work, as long as he can get off by 4 at the latest, because he does start earlier, and so he usually gets off around 3:30, maybe 4. And now that we have the daylight savings, we have an extra hour of sunlight, it'll give us more incentive to be able to go out further, because it takes us a little while to drive from where we're the camp that we're parked at with our RV. It takes about maybe like half an hour, maybe 35 minutes to drive up the mountain and just keep exploring different places. Like, we were just amazed that there were so many things we didn't know that were around us. Like, even though we're in the desert, there's a couple waterfalls that are up there, and there's a dam, a stream, and just all kinds of cool sights and views. So we're getting out of our comfort zone. That was a big one. We both have gotten so comfortable again, which is the reason why we wanted to start, one of the reasons why we wanted to start full-time RVing and traveling, was to get out of our comfort zone and explore. And then we started with a different rig that was a lot smaller and cramped. And then we moved up to a much bigger one that is just like a house, basically. And we got comfortable again, and we weren't going outside as much, and he was working a lot, and we were just eating and watching TV and being on our phones, which again is not all bad. There just has to be some kind of balance. And I'm a person who struggles with that a lot. I think that one of my biggest lessons on earth, why I came here and incarnated, was to learn balance, because my personality is so much of a all or nothing. Like, I'm either going to do something all the time or I'm never going to do it at all. And that's just not how life works all the time. Yes, there are some things I've discovered that I just can't handle. I can't buy a whole bag of cookies because I will eat the whole bag of cookies. So I don't want to set myself up for failure. I want to give myself the best advantage possible. All right, that is my video for today. I feel like I've kind of ranted and rambled enough, but I just really wanted to share with you guys what I've been going through and how I've been dealing with it and what I've been discovering, because I know a lot of us put so much of the highlights of our life on camera. We have these perfect pictures on Instagram, and then we have all these videos where we're vlogging and we're looking perfect and we're out in nature and everything's just so aesthetic and we just are smiling and so happy. And yes, everybody has those highlights, but we also have those lowlights. And even though I'm not filming during that time that I was going through this, I definitely just want to let you guys know I do go through this, even with now being on the other end of the spectrum of being able to manifest. Even with being able to manifest as much as I have, because all of us, I think, are on kind of different stages of our journey with the law of attraction. All of us are manifesting all the time, whether we realize it or not, whether we believe in it or not. But I really think it's not just about getting things just for the sake of getting them when it comes to manifesting, but it's about navigating that ship of where you want to go. Like, point it in a certain direction. Write down exactly what you want. Make it clear to the universe. Make it clear to yourself what you actually want out of life. What are the experiences you want to have? And then put it out there and then let it go. And let it go by setting the intention and figuring out what makes you feel present, what makes you feel grateful about what you already have. That's a very good intention to have, is just focusing on what you're grateful for. And like I said, the best way to do that is to become present, to become grounded, to be in this moment right now. Because we have absolutely no idea what we may gain tomorrow or what we may lose. I realize I get into this habit of just being like, oh, everything is going to be exactly the same. And then when something changes, we kind of react and freak out. But that's because a lot of times because we don't realize what we have right now. So I hope this video helps some of you in some way, even if it's just to let you know and remind you that you're not alone, that we're all struggling with different things. The things I teach are the things I've learned, but it's a constant reminder that I have to give myself, because it's so easy to forget and get sucked back into the 3D matrix, and we kind of forget the important things, which is to also have fun. Life is meant to be fun and not so serious, and not just about doing something or getting something or having something. Many times it's just about being yourself, being in nature, being still, being quiet. And that will definitely help you to let go of your attachments to your manifestations and to trust the universe and the process. And as always, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye everyone.